Good morning. We're here out in the woods, just getting ready for some courses that are coming up. And one of the questions that I keep getting asked by my clients is how to sharpen a knife in the field. So this is something that we do on some of the courses that we run, but it's not the sort of thing that we get a lot of practice at because the knife's pretty sharp. So I thought I'd just show you quickly how I field sharpen my knife out in the woods. Just to kind of give you that information following it. So I've got a few things gathered here already. Most importantly, we've just got a stick. It's a pretty stout stick. It's probably a little bit narrower than the stone that we're going to use, and you'll see why that's important a little later on. And it's about as long as my arm, a little bit longer. The reason we want it that long is because we're going to stick it into the ground and lean into it with our shoulder to make something of a brace to hold the stone. So it just wants to be comfortable like that. The next thing we've got then is the sharpening stone we're going to use. So this is the stone that I use pretty much all the time. I've got a set of water stones at home, but 80% of the time my tools are kept sharp with that. And it's just a little pocket stone by Niven. It's called the DC4. It's 4 inches long, ceramic on one side and a coarse diamond abrasive on the other. I almost never use that gold side. It's really coarse, brilliant for removing damage. So if you've taken a dink or a chip out of your tools, it's good for removing a lot of the material. But for the most part, we'll just use the grey side to keep things sharp when I'm out. So that's the stone. And basically then, the way this works is we need to seat this into this stick. So find yourself a comfortable spot to sit. Should only take a few minutes. There we go. And then somewhere comfortable for that stone to go. So we're going to say around there. On my blog, you'll see an article of how I do this with just a knife. There's some photos to go with that. To speed things up a little bit, you can use a folding saw as well. So if we get all of our safety in place, and the first thing we do is just cut a simple vertical cut. Doesn't have to be very deep, maybe 5mm, something like that. And with that holding the top end of the stone, we're now going to cut a notch to meet the bottom end. And the important point here, I'll try and get myself so you can see, if I just rest the stone up against that notch, if I make a cut here, because the saw removes material vertically down, the gap's going to be a little bit too big. So what I do is I just get myself lined up, and then I come in just a fraction and make the first cut there. There we go. And then just make sure I'm lined up with that other notch. So because I want to be really neat and tidy, I'm putting almost no effort into the sawing. I'm just letting the sharpness of the teeth do the work. But there we go. So now we've got two notches that are just a little bit closer together than the length of the stone. Now with the knife, we just want to remove that thinner material. So over there so you can see. So using a supporting cup with your thumb, very gently just start to take material off. What we don't want to do is degrade that backstop very much, because that's what's going to essentially hold the stone in nice and neat. From the other side, you can start to remove material. I'm using a green stick here, just because we've got some of that material set up ready for the courses. You can absolutely do this with a dead stick off the ground, so you don't have to be cutting down a green stick to do this with. You can just find a nice stout bit of dead wood, and actually a lot of the woods that lend themselves well to splitting, so something like say hazel or ash or willow or something like that, when they're seasoned, you can get the knife in a little bit and then wiggle the knife backwards, and you can sort of split off sections. So rather than having to slice this down, you can split that middle section off quite quickly and easily. like I say, these are going to form some of the tools that we use on the course for teaching, so I'm just making an especially neat one just for longevity, really, get the use out of it. Okay, so then we bring the stone in. You see how we are. So the plane's nice and flat, the stone should sit neatly. As I mentioned, now we just need to tidy up those ends. So we've got nice crisp 90-degree angles, and it just wants to be wider, like 1mm. Just so you can see there, just widening that up. So when I need to trim that off, you can see there what I'm doing is I'm just resting the knife vertically on the stick, supporting it with the thumb, and then actually I'm rolling the stick so the knife stays still in my grip and the stick rolls into that, and that just slices that off nice and neatly. Now stone should slide in nice and tight. There we go. So a couple of minutes work, I've got a brace now. For sharpening then. Now that we're all set and ready to go, again just get yourself comfortable. Play around. Go. So just like you do on a bench stone at home, especially with these Scandinavian grinds, it's very easy. Lay the knife flat on its side and roll it forwards until that bevel connects. And that's the sharpening angle, so the same angle as the knife. And we just slide the knife down over the stone. Like that. So whenever you're using field stones, there's always going to be something of a compromise. Because this is a little short, you tend to have to do the tip on its own. So I come back up to do the tip. Again, slicing forwards and down the stone. So that's the action I'd like you to keep in mind, that forward cut, slicing down. But with practice you can be a little bit quicker than that. So we can sharpen on the downstroke, but then just to speed things up we can just pull it back lightly up the stone at the same angle. So all the time my energy is on the downstroke, but in just sliding up the stone I don't have to do that reset each time. I can kind of keep the bevel on the stone. Like that. So that's the action. To keep your edge true to the centre of your knife then, you just need to keep an internal count of how much you're doing. So I tend to do with this method about 10 passes, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We then turn the knife completely over and come back up on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We just keep generally even like that. And as we go, there are a few different tricks you can employ to make sure you're sharpening the whole surface of the edge. You basically want to sharpen that entire bevel. So rather than just the sharp edge, this entire surface wants to be sharpened so that you maintain your angle. There's a few tricks you can do, like I mentioned, so you can colour that entire surface in with a marker pen. That works quite well, but I tend to find that it gums up the stones after a little bit. That ink just kind of starts to stick. And also, you might not have a pen with you, so it's better to be able to do it just with the things that you've got with you. So the way I do it is literally to read the scratch patterns. So in looking at that in the light, I can start to see the scratches from the stone on there. And if there's any bits that are still shiny that I've missed, or if there are any bits that are getting really heavily scratched, more so than the others, I know I need to adjust how I'm sharpening. So this side's quite good, a bit of work at the tip. that one I missed a section here, so there's a really shiny section just by the edge there. So I'm just going to work that a little bit more. So like I say, this is field expedient, so you should do this whenever you feel like your knife is getting a bit dull. And so it should never need very much work. If you keep on top of this, if you're using your knife heavily, if you do this 5-10 minutes a day, then it will never take much work. There we go. So the scratches are now even across that whole surface there and that side. So you just do that until you get that nice catchy feeling again on your thumb pad, making sure it's nice and sharp. But that's how we use that pocket stone. So that goes down, put the tools away. And the final step then would just be to strop the knife. I don't carry a strop with me, usually because I'm wearing a leather belt. So I would take that belt off. So the belt comes off. There's loads of ways you can do this. We could go up to a tree and just get onto a branch. Another way we could do it would be to just go around this stick. So stropping then, just like the old cutthroat barbers used to do, we just go down the leather, moving the knife backwards over the surface. I tend to do that about 50 times on each side. And that just brings the burr off the edge, brings everything nice and neat into alignment, and polishes the surface as well. So a nice shiny surface is going to be smoother, it's going to pass through the materials that you're carving easier, and therefore you're going to keep your sharp edge for longer. The important point here is that I'm moving the knife backwards across the surface. And you can quickly see if I go the wrong way, I'm just going to end up with two short belts. Now we'll just keep going like that for a 50 count. There we go. So there's lots of tests as well to see how sharp that is. So one of the more convenient ones is just to rest the knife on the nail, and if it bites without slipping, that's a pretty good sign it's sharp. The other one is you can shave a bit of arm hair off. I tend to end up with bald patches all over if I do that for a season, but yeah, I don't know if you can see there's hairs on there. The most practical one to my mind, really, if you want an actual test, is to get just a bit of dead wood, and if it will feather the wood. Like that. Then that's the finest of carving you're going to be doing with the knife, so if it's sharp enough to do that, it's as sharp as you need. That's quite a good test as well, because you can use every element of the blade edge then, so close to the hand and up at the tip. Just check everything's nice and sharp. Okay, that's it. So that's how I sharpen my knives in the field. I've got another video showing you how I sharpen an axe using the same stone, but that's it. So like I say, most of the time, if not all the time, I'm using that stone to sharpen my knives. I use water stones at home, big flat bench stones. They get slightly, marginal better finish. So doing this as much as I do, maybe once a season I'll sit down of an evening and get the bench stones out and spend the night doing all my tools. But for the most part, when we're out in the field, running courses, on canoe trips, that's how I keep my tools sharp. Alright, well thanks for watching. There's more articles and videos on our website, howlbushcraft.com. If you've got any comments, do feel free to leave them below, and yeah, thank you very much.